autoloader, there's parts inside the compressor room, so we can put it. Those autoloaders are what, $2,000?
About 15, yeah.
About $1,500 that we're just throwing on the floor because we're putting on the new ones. There's shelves in there to put the parts on, so when we have broken pieces, we have the other parts replaced and make sure they're on the presses. So we got to make sure that we take care of that stuff. All right. I know you wouldn't throw $1,500 outside in the garage and leave it on the floor at home, so we shouldn't do it here. All right. The audit. Brenco audits 12.7, 12.8. Our audit yesterday went well except for a few things. We really need to work on the mold books being where they belong, control plans where they belong. They should be at every press. We couldn't find one of them. We had to grab a different one. And that concerned him. Obviously, he understands we're in a chaotic point. He expects it to be a lot better come June. All right, so we had to make a lot of promises. So Bob did a really nice job. So let's give Bob a hand. He did a really nice job. Thank you, Bob. All right, and then don't forget, again, Brenco is going to be a lot harder than yesterday, so we got to make sure we're ready. All right, so we're talking about the bicycle and the design. So the lean approach is to create truly dedicated product teams with all the skills needed to conduct a value specification, general design, detailed engineering, purchasing, tooling, and production planning in one room in a short period of time using approved team decision-making methodology commonly called quality function deployment. This method permits development teams to standardize work so that team follows the same approach every time. Because every team in the firm also follows this approach, it's possible to accurately measure throughput time, and to continually improve the design methodology itself. With a truly dedicated team in place, rigorously using QFD to correctly specify value and then eliminate rework and backflows, the design never stops moving forward until it's fully in production. The result, as we will demonstrate in examples in part 2, is to reduce development time by more than half and the amount of effort needed by more than half, while getting a much higher hit rate of products which actually speak to the needs of the customer. In our experience, dedicated product teams do not need to be nearly as large as traditional managers would predict. And the smaller they can be kept, the better all around. A host of narrowly skilled specialists are not needed because most marketing, engineering, purchasing, and production professionals actually have much broader skills than they have, 1, ever realized, 2, ever admitted, or 3, ever been allowed to use. When a small team is given the mandate to just do it, we always find the professionals suddenly discover that each can successfully cover as much broader scope of tasks than they have ever been allowed to previously. They will do the job well, and they enjoy it. Moving most of the employees formerly in marketing, engineering, production groups into dedicated teams for specific products does create problems for the functional needs for each firm along with value stream, a point we will address in part 3. Similarly, the need to include employees of key component and material supply firms as dedicated members of the product team raises difficult questions of where one firm stops and the next one begins, okay? So obviously it's making decisions. We get stuck saying that we can't make a decision, and everyone has the common sense to make decisions with the same thought. You have the same information. There was a place in St. Charles we went to. There's, I think, 5 or 6 of us went down there. They do that. They have a 5 or 4-person team, I think it was. I don't know, where's Frank and Pat? Was it 4-person team? I think they had sitting there, they quote it, they design it, they put it all together, they all sit there, they get it all done. They don't go from department and queues and batch, and they've seen a huge improvement of what they're doing. So it was pretty impressive what they were doing. All right.